Hi, and welcome to The Digital Perspective. I'm Prabin Gautam. This is the program all about exploring your digital trends and strategies to build your business, brand, and then monetize it today. I'm really excited today. I'm very lucky to have a special guest, Gary Edwards, who's my good friend, and he helps, he's the influential coach. He helps the leaders and entrepreneurs to craft their message. Um, so today in this episode 2, Digital Perspective, we want to talk about the conversation that converts in the digital world. And there is no better than Gary, who is doing it day in, day out. And by the way, if you guys are watching up from different social media platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, or any other channels, feel free to subscribe us on our YouTube channel, which is The Digital Perspectives. You can just subscribe it. So from the next episodes every Thursday, we'll come up with the new ideas, new trends, new strategies to help you build your business. Now let's get on to it. Great to have you today, Gary.
Thank you, Prabin. Great to be here with you.
That's great. So let's get on to it. I want to know really what is that you believe that people or entrepreneurs should be doing right now to get more business, Gary?
Well, thank you, Prabin. As we know, the world changed in the last few months and continues to change and evolve. And so it's really about how we respond to that. And it's very much about the conversations that we have with our clients and with our prospective clients. And so if you don't mind, Prabin, I'll just share my screen here and walk people through a few ideas that might help them to have a better conversation and increase their chances of winning more business.
Sure, so mate, please.
Bring up my screen here. And what I'd like to do is to talk initially about the two challenges that we're all facing at the moment, but also the opportunity that there is within those challenges. So the first thing is that, this is normally how we are with our clients. We have our clients over here, clients or prospective clients, and we have ourselves over here. And that means that there is some overlap between us, and we're able to go out and talk to our clients and meet with them and connect with them and find out what they want. What's happened, of course, the two challenges that have caused us a bit of a problem lately, of course, everything about COVID-19 has caused an issue, because what it means essentially is that our clients have moved away from us somewhat. They've backed away and they've gone, I don't know whether I want to buy this anymore. I don't know if I can afford to do this. I'm not sure whether what you're offering is the best thing for my business. And so our clients have kind of backed away from us a lot as COVID-19 has created a lot of uncertainty for us all. So that's the first challenge, that our clients have just moved away slightly from where we are. The second challenge is our ability to do something about that, our ability to move towards our clients and offer the same sort of services that we have before has also changed, because it's changing a bit now because we're able to catch up with people a bit more, but we're still very much in a digital world. And we will continue to be, because we've all got used to that. And so our ability, the second challenge is our ability to connect with clients is now subject to our ability to do that online a lot of the time. So the technology or the way in which we connect with clients has changed. So the two challenges, they've moved away from us, and also our ability to follow them and reconnect with them means that we now have to do it more digitally than ever before. And so that changes the way in which we have these conversations with people. Now, this little triangle that I've got over here, Prabin, just outlines what this means for us, because there's still an opportunity there for us. Mm-hmm. And the opportunity is this. We all have a service or a product to deliver, and we also have the ability to deliver that. And the way in which we deliver it has changed, but we all believe that we still have the opportunity to deliver it. And we all have a marketing strategy around that to provide us with an opportunity to make that connection with a client. So we have a service or a product, we have an ability to deliver it, and we have been marketing ourselves to try and create an opportunity. So when we do that, we get an opportunity to perhaps talk with a client, pitch to a client, and as we say, a lot of that now is being done online. So our ability to take advantage of that opportunity is the key. What's actually happened because of this uncertainty and these two challenges that we face, what has happened, of course, is that first of all, there is now a question mark around, will we get the business? Does the client want it? And can we take advantage of the opportunity? Can we leverage that opportunity to get the business? And secondly, will we get the business at the same price? Because as we're all very aware, there is somewhat of a perception that doing business online is somehow of lesser value than it is face-to-face. So they're the two challenges we face, but there's still opportunities out there, and it's about how we leverage those opportunities to get the business, but also to get it at a good price.
That's a great point, Gary. Particularly when you said that, people are looking where to find the business, and moreover the price. Everyone right now, especially after, during the COVID or post-COVID, they are looking to get the best service or best products in the lowest price. So that's a challenge. But what you're saying here is really understanding those opportunities and challenges for us to move ahead for our business owners. Yeah.
Yep, creating the opportunities, showing that we can deliver that business service or product, and increasingly that we can do it at a price that they're comfortable with.
Right. Now that's great. That's great insight, Gary. Now, before we move to the second question, those viewers who are watching this right now from Facebook and number of channels, feel free to any of your burning questions, feel free to write the comments or give the thumbs up. We're really looking forward to if there's anything we can help or Gary can help, just write the comments right just below. Now let's move to the second question, Gary, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So it's about, as you know, I'm a great advocate and trusted advisor or trusted partner. So what's your thought on it, especially now in the situation like this? Where is the trust between the provider and the client should be?
Yes, well, that's a really good question, Prabin, because our ability to get business and to get it at a good price requires us to have a different sort of conversation with our client. Now, I call these a trusted conversation because the key question, of course, has always been when we're trying to sell a product of service is the client is always asking, can I trust you? And that's more relevant now than ever, because now they're thinking, I have all these opportunities coming towards me, all these offers, everyone is coming at me digitally, everyone's coming from the same channels, from Facebook and LinkedIn and so on. And so I now have a much broader range that I need to think about. And also there's a range of prices, as I said before. So who do I trust? Who do I buy? Who is good and who is not good? And in the past, whether I can trust you tended to be a little bit personal. So they would look at the person and say, are you the sort of person? Are you the person for me? So the idea of can I trust you tended to revolve around who are you as a person. But now, particularly digitally, we actually have to think of 4 other dimensions in order to find a way to get people to trust us. And I'm referring to these as another 4 Ps here, Prabin. So let me take you through these one at a time.
Sure.
The first P is the problem. We have to be able to present to a client or a prospective client an understanding or a definition of the problem that we say that they are facing. So we don't have to just understand the client. We now have to be able to demonstrate to them that we are able to identify and define the problem in a way that they like and in a way that they trust. So the first element is, do I trust your definition of my problem? Maybe even, are you showing me a problem that I didn't even realize I had? Because of course, in the business world these days and the way things have gone, people don't even understand what they now need because it's all been thrown up in the air. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of confusion. So can you define a problem for me in a way that makes me go, actually, that makes a lot of sense to me? If you can do that, can you then define a proposal? Can you give me a proposal that I can trust? And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like in a minute. But the proposal has to be something that they go, right, if you define the problem as this, I can see a match with the proposal. So we've got to make sure we get all of these bits lined up. The third one is the process. More than ever, the process of how we will deliver that, what the experience will be like of working with us is really critical. And I can give you a good example of that, Prabin. I do a lot of work with corporates and small businesses and government departments. And I was working with the government department just yesterday on a program about how they deal with some of the difficult client conversations that they have to have. Now, normally that would have been a half-day program, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. They get in a room, I walk in, I deliver it, we talk, we apply it, etc. And they know exactly what they're getting. A 3-hour program, very easy to understand. But because that wasn't the way it happened, because it now happened digitally, we actually spent a lot of time defining that process. So a 3-hour face-to-face program became 2 1-hour Zoom sessions and also 2 pre-recorded little videos, a bit like what we're doing now with me drawing on this digital whiteboard. So I'd send them a video and then they'd watch that, and they'd turn up for a live Zoom session, send them another video, turn up for another Zoom session. So the whole process of how I delivered that content completely changed. And we had a lot of backwards and forwards with the client, just making sure that they were comfortable with that process and making sure that they knew that it was as good as what they would have got face-to-face. The last P, of course, is the payoff. People have always wanted to know what's in it for me, what's the benefit, what are the outcomes going to be, but now more than ever. Because in the past, it was possible to say, oh, yes, I'll buy that and I'll agree to that service and I'll get that done. And there was a sense of, well, as long as you seem to be okay and it gives me what I think are the results I want, then that's fine. And so people were always interested in the results, but now people are looking in absolutely, am I getting the exact results that I need right now? And are they results that I'm going to be able to implement today and tomorrow and next week? Not results that will pay off in the future, because the future is at the moment kind of too far away. We don't quite know what that looks like. So what I want now is I want to pay off, I want results, I want benefits that are going to be really clear right now. And so this question of whether I can trust you used to revolve around who you were the person, the ability to sit down with you over a cup of coffee and have a chat. Now digitally, it's that much harder to make that personal connection, and we have to make sure instead, or as well as that, that we get all four of these things right.
That's great. That's, particularly when you say that people want now, and obviously they want an outcome now, even, the outcome almost should be yesterday. So they want an instant result. There's no doubt on it. But obviously that comes with the challenges as well, isn't it? Because obviously different market segments are different. Let's say even we talk about events, we talk about, pre-events, events, post-events. If you talk about sales, same, pre-sales, sales, post-sales. So it's all about what clients are, what exactly they are looking right now is the experience, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. And that experience has to be right for them. And so our ability to deliver this when the time comes, that's a whole nother conversation, of course, but our ability to deliver digitally has also changed.
Yeah. No, that's great. Now on that note, then obviously coming back to the trust, trusted advisor, trusted partner, what is this? I mean, obviously, people, we have heard about them, the story emotionally connecting with the stories. So what's your thought on it? Because a lot of the viewers have, even some of our clients always ask, some of the communities have asked, stories are very enticing, and they really change the way how we perceive the thing. So what's your thought on that, Gary?
Yeah, well, that comes back to our positioning as the trusted provider, and I'll get to the stories in a second, but we have to understand how we are seen by our clients, because it used to be that we could go out there and if you were an authority, then being an authority was all you needed to be. You're the authority in this area, and therefore I will buy what you're selling. Now that was obviously quite some years ago when people accepted the level of authority that you might have had. Then, of course, we said, okay, we're not just accepting you as an authority anymore, and we had to reposition ourselves as an expert. And so for many years, we've been saying, yes, I'm an expert on this, I'm an expert on that. Now, of course, with the internet, everyone's an expert these days. Everyone's got a lot of access to knowledge, and if they're not an expert, they believe they are because they can read the stuff and they can learn stuff. And so to be an expert wasn't enough. Probably last 5-10 years, being an expert isn't enough.
Was sorry, just on that note, was that how much 10,000 hours then you would say as an expert, isn't it?
That's right. The 10,000 hours, and now, you don't need 10,000 hours. You need a few clicks on Google and you find stuff and you go, oh, I'm an expert apparently. So, and so whilst we are still experts, we had to shift our positioning, and then we started to think of ourselves as problem solvers. And when we were a problem solver, what that meant was we had to make sure that we understood the client's business. We had to understood the client's needs. We would talk to them. We would listen to what they had to say. We would diagnose, etc. Our job was to understand our clients and to then solve their problems. Even that now has moved beyond that. What we now need to be is a teacher and a learner. We are still an expert, we are still doing problem solving, but more than ever before, we have to position ourselves as teachers and learners. because in the past, understanding our clients was what we had to do. Now what we have to do as being a teacher is we have to help our clients understand themselves. Because right now, people are so confused and so uncertain. They need to understand themselves. They need to understand the world, how it's working at the moment. They need to understand what their competitors are doing. And they need to understand, okay, in all that environment, what are my options? So our job is to help our clients by teaching them that. And in order to teach them, we have to learn that ourselves. So more than ever before, our expertise is useful to us, but not enough. And so we have to be able to learn from our clients. We have to go in with a very fresh set of eyes to learn what's going on in the world around us, what competitors are doing, and then we can actually go in and essentially teach our clients, this is where you're at, this is what's happening around you, this is what your clients are currently doing now, and your competitors are currently doing now. And if your competitors are over here and you're still back here, then you've got a lot to make up, even just to become competitive with them. You mentioned about the stories, Praveen. I'm more than happy to continue with that. Please. If you like.
Just a bit, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what that means is we have to be able to give our clients a story about what's going on in the world. Where am I at? What's happening around me? And I think there are three key stories. And when I work with people and work with clients, I help them to fashion these three stories. The three stories that we need to be able to understand and to be able to tell people. The first one is the story of the world. In other words, what's happening in the world generally. So we have to be able to, now we all watch the news and we're all very aware of some of the politics and some of the things that are happening around the world, but we need to be able to explain that very clearly to our clients in terms of what that means for them. So what's happening in the world that is relevant to them. The second thing we need to be able to do is to explain to our clients that we understand the story of their world. In other words, to be able to say to them, I think this is what's happening in your world based on what I understand from your industry and your competitors. So we need to be able to tell the story of the world and also the story of their world, what challenges they're facing. And like I said before, sometimes right now we are explaining to clients what challenges they're facing, what problems they're facing that is different to what they even know themselves. Because a lot of clients, they're very confused and they need help to understand what the problems are that they're facing that they're not even aware of. The third story that we need to be able to explain to clients is our world. In other words, where have you come from? What is your expertise, but also how did you develop this expertise? So what's the story of your world? What's the story of your journey in all of this? How did you get to this point? How do we utilize your knowledge in order to help me? So what we're trying to do here, of course, is to combine all three of them. This is you, this is me, and this is the way the world is at the moment. And if we can combine those three things together, then we will maximize that opportunity that sits in the middle of that in order to get clients' business. You know, there's a saying, Praveen, which is, we're all very uncertain about the future. There's a really good saying, which is the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's when we create these three stories, that's what we're doing. We're creating opportunities, but we're creating great clarity for clients about what the future holds for them and what their next best steps are.
Absolutely. I just loved it, you know, what you just said there, the world, their world and our world. So, you know, most likely consultants or, you know, those, they just focus on their stuff, but, you know, again, putting the clients in the central is everything, is a key, isn't it? And understanding the situation, understanding the context. That's a great point, Gary. And those viewers who are watching this, obviously, you know, from a number of social media, feel free to share, like, or, you know, any of your friends, feel free to pass these videos. Now, I'm conscious with the time, we're wrapping it up. Is there any other final things you want to share up before we close for this episode today, Gary?
Yeah, I just want to reinforce that there are opportunities out there, and it's about making the most of those opportunities, not only to win the business, but to win it at a good price. And I think there's fundamentally three things that we are doing in all of this. Everything that I've just said now boils down to being able to do three things, which is to be able to position ourselves. Right. And we've talked about that. How do we position ourselves as a trusted advisor, a trusted partner? And then how do we pitch ourselves, which is about our ability to tell these stories. And then it's about how do we present what we've got. because our ability, our presentation skills, whether it is face-to-face or virtual, has again changed. So we have to understand our position so that we can be seen as someone who is not just a nice person, a trustworthy person, but someone who understands things so well that we have a great positioning in front of the client to be able to pitch our services using these stories that we've talked about, and then to be able to present that to clients in a way that they say, this is working for me, this is what I need, this is what my staff need, this is what my business is about. And so we need to increase, we need to elevate our ability to present. And there's a whole lot of stuff that we could talk about with that, but our ability to present now is more critical than ever.
That's great. Thank you, Gary. So yeah, definitely positioning, pitching, and presenting is a key in any ways to grow a business. And obviously everyone is looking for the more business. So I hope the insights, what you have just gave in this episode is very valuable to our community. Now, thank you so much, Gary. So just before we go, obviously, we'll be against in episode 3. I'll be coming down to episode 3, helping you on a new ways and new competitive ways to find out to help your business on your brand, as well as in monetizing it. Until then, now also that reminds me the event we are doing. Is there anything you want to share quickly, Gary?
Yeah, so the event we're doing is 3 of us talking about how to do what we've just been talking about. So I'll be talking about how to do those 3 Ps we said before. It's actually how to position yourself as a trusted partner. And of course, Praveen, you're going to be talking about the digital marketing side of things.
Yes.
And how you can take that out to the market, how you can create those opportunities. And then our colleague Bev Friend is going to be talking about how to maximize those opportunities by the real customer service hacks or shortcuts or best practices that we need right now. Beautiful. It is very much about what's working now and what's going to work in the near future. Things are changing all the time, but we need to be able to make sure that we understand what's working now so that we can maximize those opportunities. That's great.
Thank you so much, Gary. So it's on, all the details are just below, 29th of July, Wednesday. And that's from 12:30 to 2:30. So again, guys, thank you for this watching, and yeah, love to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.